I believe all these laws were on the books while Biden was in office, but were not enforced. Were you talking about the denaturalization process, or are you talking about the citizenship? So the citizenship is a change really in the policy on how the government is viewing good moral character. So that actually does seem to be a change in what was previously instructed to USCIS officers. So this is like a change in the policy memo, okay? So that is new. Now, there was already a denaturalization task force, and that's something that Trump actually set up in his first, he set up the task force, right? In his first administration, okay? And this was previously used in the past, denaturalization. It isn't new, but it was rarely used. It was used for more like really big cases, money laundering and crimes that happened outside the United States that the person didn't disclose. It was typically reserved for very large cases and not so much for little cases, okay? So the thing that is different with the Trump administration's denaturalization is that he's making it so that it could be anyone. And he's causing fear in people who have their citizenship and by and large have always followed the rules, right? Because even someone who had underreported, now I'm not sure which of the people who would be focused on if you underreported $2,000 if you're going to be on the government's radar, or if you underreported $100,000, or is it, it could be even the $500 person, right? So what we don't know is how this will play out, because like I said, it's 24 million naturalized citizens. We know that they don't have the people to work on all of those citizenship cases and go back, 25 years in the past, right? So I would say that it's probably easier for them to work on more recent cases because those were more on their radar. People are already disclosing where they lived and worked in the last 5 years, so it's more likely they can find those people, right? So I'm not sure, but they could also go to someone who's 15 years back with these new rules. But denaturalization is not new. It's how these rules are being interpreted and the government's emphasis on even taking away the citizenship that people have. It's really kind of bizarre. So when Trump took office, or when he was campaigning, he was very much saying that he was going to get rid of all of the illegal immigrants, right? And even a lot of Cubans in this area, for example, in Florida, a lot of people, even immigrants, were voting for Trump because they thought that he was going to only get rid of bad immigration, only stop illegal immigration. Some people were very upset with Biden's sort of open door policies, that they didn't like these paroles that were being given to people. Interestingly, the Trump, Cubans were upset about it, and Cubans got here by a parole that was similar. But anyway, so what people thought that this was going to be only illegal immigration, only bad people, only criminals. But we see that's not the case, right? We see that he's also taking away status from people who have temporary protective status. He's taking away status, people who came in under parole, and he's trying to end programs that were giving people work permits, right? As well as even going after citizens. So it doesn't seem to be that he's only after, and I mean, I've been saying that the whole time, but I think people are only now realizing it, that even citizens, people who did play by the rules, did do everything, they weren't, these aren't like usually big criminals, because obviously they could go after criminals and people who hid really big cases. That's always been the case. But this change, what Trump is doing now with this memo in June, is saying even little things, right? Even something you didn't tell us about. There was a traffic case that was a hit and run, that was domestic violence case that you didn't get convicted, or there was something that happened in your country that you forgot to tell us about on the application. That could be used to denaturalize a person, or even underrepresenting taxes, which has never been mentioned as something like that would cause a person to be denaturalized. So that's the difference. It's not just that things are being unenforced, they're being reinterpreted, right?